Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very episode of CHcast. Today, I'm sitting here with a great friend of mine, Nathan. Hello, Nathan.
Hey, how's it going?
Nathan is a content creator, Twitter shit poster, meme generator, bully, uh,
Yeah, bully.
uh, chef, TikTok star. Um, Anything
I
else?
wear many hats.
You're a brewer. You did Hippo Hulk, and now we're talking
Yes.
about one of the most exciting brews of definitely of the day, of the week, of the month. Post Commander Legends. I think this is like really exciting. Is You're working on a Tevish Zot Crom deck, right?
Yeah, and so far, like after the last couple of days of testing, things have been going really well.
Yeah,
Um, like I've been having like I was it all like this. It came from watching a lot of farm decks starting to pop up in the meta, like Juska Timna and like a lot of other brews, like Amy Joe Burton's Nauseum deck, her Snoop Nas. Like I'm just seeing a lot of Nas, and like I was working on that kind of stuff in Nigeria, but I decided like I wanted to switch off into like some different partners to try that out. And originally I was running Vile Smasher Malcolm, just like not expecting much out of it. I just wanted to see what one extra treasure per turn would look like on like a scale like is like it grinds out mana like how like let's see what that looks like. Turns out doesn't really grind out. That Vile Smasher is just absolutely useless in that kind of
yeah,
pairing.
I agree.
Uh, and then like one extra treasure per turn didn't turn out to be actually worth it. However, I am going to be brewing a casual Malcolm Grixis Pirates deck that I am looking forward to playing, where use Malcolm to make lots of treasures and then cast very large spells and smash people with Vile Smasher. Like that sounds fun. But like as for CDH, I have a tendency to play a lot of combo pieces in the command zone. I'm also known for playing Najila. And like Hippo Hulk was the other deck, which was a combo piece in the command zone. I actively don't play Thrasios decks, and I haven't played a Timna deck to date. Um, so I figured I'm like,
But
okay,
those
well,
are the best.
I know, but like, it's not like everybody knows they're the best.
Yeah,
It's nothing that really excites me or like gets me. Like I could play that list, but like I'd rather play something else.
yeah,
It's just because I find it more entertaining. But that's just my personal take on
yeah.
things. Well, that's just so
I know that
Crom and
I know
hmm?
that I think Rebel. I think Rebel had also been playing a Crom Tevish Dot list.
Well,
Had you
that
seen
is
that?
exactly where the inspiration for my list came from. When I saw Doom Scramble, I'm like, that just looked like such a fun time, and like the Crom and Tavesh pairing in the command zone kind of solved my need for card advantage. Having two sources that both like you can power out early to draw cards, or play a long waiting game and just like let Crom act like a Ristic Study or a Rule of Law, and then Tavesh just can end up drawing 2 to 3 cards per turn, depending like if you want to sacrifice Crom out.
Yeah, and I also like. There's just so many good things about this commanders. But one thing I wanted to say is like a lot of times people will be like, "Oh, Crom's like a rule of law." It's like if Crom is a rule of law, then Ristic Study is like a Thorn of Amethyst. Like, and
Yeah,
we know Ristic Study usually is not like a stacks piece. It's like a massive card
the
advantage engine, right? Like,
the only time that anybody so far has ever treated my Crom like a rule of law is when we were playing under an actual rule of law, and Crom all of a sudden wasn't that good.
yeah, that is actually like
And
one of
then
the
I cast Tavesh and started drawing cards like crazy while everybody else was like not doing anything. I'm like, okay, cool, Tavesh.
yeah. Tavesh gets under Curse Totem uh and Null Rod, so like which are like common stacks pieces you see with Rule of Law. So it's pretty great
I've
that
I've considered like depending on like how this deck goes, like I've considered running the not null rod
Curse
the one that
Totem.
says no door curse totem.
Yeah,
I've thought about it, but like so far I haven't needed it at all.
yeah. I think the deeper you go in on Opus Thief, the more you need to play cards like that. So I have like a Timna Malcolm Opus Thief deck that I've been playing. I've had a lot of success with.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I play Curse Totem in that because, like, obviously I'm not on any dorks, but also, like, when you're not in the less colors you have, then more free wins you kind of need. And Curse Totem at some tables is just like a free win. And sometimes it also just makes it harder for some decks to like outgrind you. So like Evolution, for example, it's really hard to outgrind Evolution as like a Sans red, Sans green deck. And so like just playing the Curse Totem is like, hey, now I can keep up because now they don't have Thrasios. They need to rely on like Sylvan Library or something. So I can beat that with a Timno. So
Yeah.
it's
So
with Tender
sorry.
Slot and Crom the Command Zone, I feel like you might not need cards like that as much because you just outgrind them every time.
Yeah, and like as I was saying, like about Rebels Doom Scramble list, it's like that like really inspired me into what I was doing. Except uh, like the whole forcing people to go hellbent off of Siren Insanity. But I also wanted to take that idea that she had about making everybody go like play with no cards. Um, but I also wanted to play creatures.
Yeah.
So in my original iteration of the list, and probably the list that I'll be playing with, when I'm just enjoying myself. I was running Reality Scramble to turbo Tavesh into Narset, and since I'm running almost I'm running, I think every wheel misfortune, wheel of fortune,
Yeah.
windfall, and I'm also running Whispering Madness because Whispering Madness on a Crom is a fantastic way to dig through your deck real fast.
I have been so impressed by that card. Like every time someone looks at my list, they're like, Whispering Madness? I'm like, it's just so good. Like sometimes you just want
Um,
to cast two wheels in one turn. You know, like
yeah, and
it's
like especially if you're on a very aggressive plan, like it is aggressive and disruptive at the same time, and like it fuels the yard for like later breach turns, and it's like it gets to the point where if I can lock everybody out of having any interaction off of Narset or a Hull Breacher or Notion Thief, it doesn't really matter if like with the amount of one mana counter spells that are running around and free counter spells that have been printed over the last year. Sometimes it's best to, even though you might have your hand stacked full of interaction, you won't have enough cards, you won't have enough mana. So forcing everybody to play Hellbent, it seems like an easier way to go about things.
yeah.
Also, Hull Breacher wheels are an excellent way to storm off to make Ad Nauseum or Peer into the Abyss mana and just win on the spot.
Did you consider playing like Dockside, Hull Breacher, and Notion Thief, and then like Reality Scramble is basically into an effect like that? Like those are your only three creatures. If you hit Dockside, you just Reality Scramble, use the mana from
Triple again.
Dockside. Yeah,
I've considered it, but like there are also some good creatures.
yeah. We can look at your deck list actually. So you're playing Phantasmal Image, absolutely insane card. Thassa's Oracle, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You don't want to lose Thassa's Oracle. Um,
Phantasmal Image. Phantasmal Image is just a second, like on my, it's so far it has mostly been a Dockside doubler.
yeah,
That's what that has been.
yeah. I also like to copy Croms. Like obviously you have a Crom in the command zone, but one really
Yeah,
cool
I'd
thing
copy
about
a Timna.
yeah, I a copy of Timno. Wow, that's also very good. I've done that. I did that the other day too. Copying a Gilded Drake. So if you get
Yeah,
like your Crom Gilded Drake, you can always just like Phantasmal
Gilded Drake it
Image,
back.
and
Yeah,
then
it's a great spell.
yeah. You don't want to lose Opposition Agent, obviously, and Simian Spirit Guide's really bad into a Reality Scramble, obviously. So yeah, I can see why you'd.
Yeah, but I have been considering cutting Simeon Spirit Guide because I have value scrambled before. I have value scrambled I value scrambled a Tavesh and popped a Dockside, and then reality scrambled the Dockside, and then popped a Hull Breacher.
Yeah.
Um,
Reality Scramble is
like
actually secretly a very powerful card.
well, it also has great interaction with Narset because I'm able to scramble Narset to reset her.
Oh,
So like
really?
people are
That's interesting. Okay.
like Since Tavesh is in the command zone and Narset is the only planeswalker in the deck, you put the Narset on the bottom of the library and then flip until you found another planeswalker. So you just recycle your Narset and put her back on the table with full loyalty.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. I also a thing I really like is that you can always just like if your Narset's at one loyalty and you already have like your whole reach out, you can always just sack it to Tevesh Zot. Like when it's
Yeah, exactly,
so
exactly.
that's really powerful too. And Tevesh Zot makes
Uh,
blockers for
Tevesh, I've also looped Tevesh Zot out of. He's been like I've had Narset like that got killed
Mhm.
for some reason, or I think I might have actually sacrificed it to draw cards. But that meant that Tevesh was the only legal target for Reality Scramble, which meant that I put him on the bottom of the library, scrambled because I had just Jessica's willed for like 18, and I was digging for cards. So I reality scrambled Tavesh, put him on the bottom of the library, flipped him back out, plus one him or plus two'd him to make Thrall tokens. Reality scrambled him, brought him back out, and then sacked one of the tokens to draw two cards, and then reality scrambled again to sack
the other one.
the Thrall. So I ended up like it was a like just it was a way to like dig off of like a big red ritual. I was able
Oh
to
yeah.
like cast reality scramble twice or two or three times and like just dig for an answer. This like that was the game where it took about half an hour to piece it together and like bless my opponents, and they were very very kind about it because it was a testing game. Managed to assemble after a main phase ad nauseum down to 3 life. Managed to assemble Breach and win underneath an Angel's Grace, which was very exciting. Like rummaging through the deck and like copying rituals, and like eventually find like I kept running into like tutors that would possibly kill me.
Oh yeah, because
So
you're at
like
like 3 life. Yeah.
I was at 3 life, so like I would die to a light breeze or like one like I wasn't too sure if I needed to pay life for mana, so I just basically stopped at 3. But like I could have used any one of the tutors now that like looking back on it because nobody had any interaction in hand because I stripped their hands out, which is amazing. I was able to just go off, and like this deck can assemble wins now that I've added the Baron lines, you can easily like peer into like an ad nause hit Baron Dockside, and then you can just keep going for more interaction. But as soon as you have Baron Dockside, you can assemble a win using Tavesh to grind out the rest of your deck.
Yeah, we should explain the Baron line because it's actually really really awesome. I guess some people had already known about it, but I had no idea it existed until you talked about it today on Twitter. But so Baron is a 3 mana legendary wizard human. He has pay 2 mana, sack a permanent, return target creature to its owner's hand. Very commonly used with Dockside to create infinite mana. Notably here, you can use the sack a permanent cost to sack Tevesh Zot to put it back in the command zone. And now you can infinitely cast Tevesh Zot, and each time make thralls, sack Tevesh Zot, sack the thralls, sack Tevesh Zot, sack trolls. You just doing that over and over again, draw your whole deck. And now you have a Grixis, an infinite mana combo, basically.
You basically have food chain.
Yeah, it's like food chain. It's like MEL Dockside. It's just a very useful.
Like there's many ways to like bounce a creature, but there's not very many ways to get a repeatable effect on a planeswalker without going Chain Veil, and like that's not a direction I ever wanted to go with the deck.
Yeah.
However, the key thing, like the moment of realization was like the sacrifice of permanent, which meant that like I could sacrifice a planeswalker and put it back in the command zone.
Yeah.
So once you've established infinite mana off your Dockside loop, you're able to like sacrifice the planeswalker, and like if you wanted to do it faster, you could cast both your commanders, sacrifice, draw 3 cards, cast both your commanders, sacrifice, draw 3 cards. Like,
that's just playing with your
that's
food.
just winning faster.
Yeah, that's playing with your food.
Once you have those, you've essentially assembled like an infinite loop.
Yeah. The one thing I have found, like just like testing with the deck a little bit, like just some like really simple cold fishing, is I worry that the deck like wants to be so fast that like it doesn't want to rely on this infinite mana combo, because it is a bit, it's a bit
No, like it doesn't need to rely on it, but it's cheap enough, and you can hit the two pieces on an ad nause or a pier that, and
Yeah.
like one pays for the other. It's the inclusion of one card.
Yeah.
So like it
Yeah.
doesn't need to be there on the list, but it does add an extra layer.
Yeah, and what it does do is it makes the deck way grindier. It allows you to be way
Yes.
grindier, right? Like the card quality is pretty good. Baron lets you bounce your opponent's Notion Thieves and Hold Reachers and Opposition Agents.
It can be
you're
used
always
as
happy to
removal,
do.
yes.
You're always happy to play cards like that. It's not the best, but I mean, it's like just a combo piece, right? And then you get to play Dockside, which is of course an absurd Magic card. So I'm really excited by it because I think it allows you to take the deck in like multiple different directions, where you like have like 80 to 90 cards that everyone's kind of playing the same, and then like you're on the Reality Scramble version, you're on the Opus Thief version, you're on the version.
The best way that I've heard it put, and it is by someone who thinks like me but is far more eloquent than I am, which was Cobblepot, where because he's also been on Tavesh and Crom recently. He plays a list similar to mine with his own additions and whatnot, and without the Reality Scramble spice, and at the moment without the Baron Master Wizard, because we just figured that out today. But what he's noted, and also what Rebel has confirmed, is that this the addition of Crom and Tavesh in the command zone adds a depth to your ad nauseum plan, which is something that not a lot of other decks. Other decks don't really have depth to their ad naus plan.
I don't really like, if you look at Anala, right? Like Anala can be a Turbo Naus deck that also.
Yes, Anala. I always forget about Anala.
And
which Spleen always makes fun of me for. I'm sorry, Spleen.
Yeah. So I think there is other decks that have depth. I think the thing here is that like you get to play. Like there's a depth in deck building decisions for sure. Like, and there's a depth in that like you can just Naus for a lot, hit Baron, win that way. You can Naus for console. So I think that's there. But I think the real thing is that like when you're mulliganing with this deck, you have these like two broken card advantage engines in the command zone. You have an infinite mana outlet in the command zone. You have like a very easy to cast card advantage engine. I think that's like the biggest thing. Is like if you've played Thrasios and Tymna and Jeweled Lotus in the same deck, it's just a mess. Like you're just like, oh yes, my Jeweled Lotus either taps for green or it taps for white and a colorless. Where in this deck, it's like if you have a Soul Ring and a Jeweled Lotus in the same hand, that's a turn one Tevesh shot. That's insane.
Yeah, I have turned one Tevesh Thought. I have turned two Crom on a couple occasions. Oh my god, on multiple occasions now.
Yeah,
because Crom, that 3 gets all paid for. Like Jeweled Lotus essentially reads in many cases for me, add 3 colorless mana, cast Crom.
Yeah, I think the reason it's with Tevesh and Crom it's broken is that like you can go Dark Ritual Jeweled Lotus, or you can't do that with Crom, right? Like Crom
no. Crom was I turned one crommed off land mox and a Jeweled Lotus.
Yeah, that'll definitely happen.
Yeah, well, like it's not only your Chrome mox, but your mox, your
diamonds,
mox, your mox diamond, Chrome mox, mana crypt. Can you even get it done?
Well, with mana crypt is awkward, but yeah, you could theoretically. You'd have to tap out for it. But like,
you could like to play Crom. You could. Oh no! For Crom, you
tap your land. You tap your Lotus, you tap your Crypt.
You tap your land for a blue, you crack your Lotus for 3 red, and you tap your Mana Crypt, and you've got Crom.
But like with Tevesh Zot, you could just play the Jeweled Lotus, play the Mana Crypt, Tevesh Zot.
Yeah, catch Tevesh Zot.
And then play your like 1 mana tutor you have, or your mana, or your Ponder, or Mystic Remora.
Yeah, 100%. It just depends on depends on what part of the turn order you're from. If you want to get Tevesh out to draw cards more later, or if you feel that if you're like early in the turn order and you feel like everybody's going to empty out their hands like CDH players do, you can land an early Crom and just treat it like a Mystic Remora, or a bad Rhystic Study.
For sure. And I think that's
which I have done.
I was talking to Leptis about this, and Leptis saying like you can have the same 100 card deck with this deck, and have two people play it completely differently, because there's going to be times where you have to play Teversat or you play Crom, and it's going to completely change the entire game, like in a huge, meaningful way. And so, like, if you're someone who's like, oh, I prefer Teversat, I like the grind potential, I like that it's guaranteed cards, like, hey, that's fantastic. If you like Crom, like, I can pressure my opponent's life total, I can draw potentially more cards faster. Yeah,
do you want more cards faster, or do you want to like grind more?
Yeah, and so that's going to push you in like totally different directions, right?
Turboing out Tevesh also opens up Culling the Weak.
Yes, that card's insane.
Which is amazing for casting like a turn, like a turn 2 ad nauseum.
Yeah,
you can Tevesh on if you Tevesh on 1, and then 2, and then use. You Tevesh on 1, get 2 thralls, go to turn 2, play your land for turn, Culling the Weak, and now you have ad nauseum mana.
Yeah, or you're just a Crom. It's like,
yeah,
even just like start powering out a Crom. It's like not that hard.
I've considered playing with Burnt Offering, but I don't know. Like I've also turned 3 just raw dogged ad nauseum and won like 5 games now. So I'm like I don't want to be relying on that ritual too much to. But I could you could hypothetically cast an ad nauseum basically just off of Crom.
Yeah, for sure. I really like this pair, to be honest. I think there's like this, I think this because I have an entire YouTube series about mulliganing, but I think people really hugely they just don't understand how important mulliganing is in this format.
Mulliganing is so important, and not having to worry about it is beautiful. Not like in Najeela, you don't have to worry about mulliganing that much because you've got a clear line of what you're doing. You're looking for 2 lands, a dork, and like a tutor.
Yeah.
But like this but like if you in Najeela, there is no card advantage in the command zone, so if you get burnt out, you're kind of screwed. Mm-hmm. Whereas this, it can keep digging. Like I got staxed out in a game that I eventually won because I just played Crom and Tevesh. And like everybody was, I played Tevesh, and like I had Crom out, but that's when the rule of law hit, and then Crom didn't matter. But up until then, I was drawing solidly cards, and then it goes, okay, my turn. I'm like, I can't get rid of the rule of law yet, so I sacrificed Crom to Tevesh to draw 3 cards, and then started grinding off of Tevesh, who was drawing me more cards.
It's kind of sick. I just think about it now. Like if there's a rule of law in play, and you play your Baron Master Wizard, he just bounces stacks. Like he just bounces stacks pieces.
You can bounce, yeah.
And it's not spells. That's kind of insane. It's really sick. So, yeah, I think people, if you print Black Lotus into a format,
Baron can't return Rule of Law unless it's on the creature.
But it can hit like an Arcane of Lemuria or.
Oh yeah, it can hit Rule of Law creatures.
Yeah,
but it just can't hit Rule of Law.
Yeah, for sure.
Or Arcane Lab or whatever.
Yes, for sure. I feel like the thing is like you can't just print like a Black Lotus into the format and expect the format not to like warp around that. And I feel like this deck is like a perfect example of like properly warping your deck around the broken cards.
Yeah, like I'm playing a fast ad nauseum game with 2 5-mana commanders. Like, what's up?
Yeah, but it's like, who cares? You can like, I was just doing some like, I just do mulliganing for the deck, and I was like, hey, like I can always just like turn this 1-mana tutor on turn 1 into a Mana Crypt or a Jeweled Lotus, and that's pretty good. Like a turn 2 Crom off a tutor is not bad at all. Like you just like make your.
Well, because you might have gone down a card to grab another card, but like once you have Crom out, you're going to start drawing more cards.
Oh yeah, or Tevesh even. Especially if you have like a Culling the Weak in your hand and you have something else you want to power out, you can always just be like, all right, play the Tevesh play the Culling the Weak.
Tevesh is also fantastic with any delayed tutor. So like Mystical Tutor, Vampiric Tutor, Imperial Seal, and Limb Duel's Vault.
Yeah, he can just crack them.
Great with Limb Duel's Vault because you can play a main phase top of the deck tutor and then crack a Thrall to draw into it. I've had Limb Duel's Vault and I get like you can top the deck the way that you want to. Like I have gone in the top 5 found a Ritual and an Adnaz, and I'm like I'm keeping that, and then I crack. draw 2, so now I have the ritual and the Adnaz, play it, deck, and then off we go.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty sick. Uh, I I probably should take another look at that. Like I cut Limgo's Vault from my list because it just felt really slow. But honestly, that's like really sick. I hadn't really considered the cracking.
I am loath to cut Limduel's Vault in a lot of decks right now. Like I know some people consider it slow, but it is an instant speed, so you can end step it, and also you can tutor through an opposition agent. And I think that an opposition agent is in everybody's decks right now.
Yeah, I think
I've gone for wins through like I've tutored for ad nauseum through an opposition agent with Limduel's Vault and just laughed at like that was nice. I got the card that I needed.
Yeah. At least from my perspective, like I'd rather just like either have like that slot. I'd rather either have another bounce spell because it like can always just remove the opposition agent and be a ritual, or I feel like a lot of the time like it's so telegraphed that they have the opposition agent because everyone's like greedy as fuck with it that I can always just like cast my tutor in response to the opposition agent.
Yep.
So I get it. I know a lot of people will agree with you. I'm definitely not in the majority on this opinion. But I'm just not. Like for example, it's in my Malcolm Timna deck. We just need the density of tutors in that deck, and we're playing a grindy mid range.
I also enjoy a density of tutors.
Yeah, like in that deck, I definitely think Limgo's Vault's correct. I just think, like especially if you're like a mid rangey deck, which this deck definitely can be, which is like points towards Limgo's Vault. The more valuable Limgo's Vault gets because your opponents are more likely to have more time to put an opposition agent in play. So
I've seen one come down on turn 1, so
yeah, for sure that definitely does happen. But you can't. Yeah, I can't. You can't always have it. I'm fine with that.
And like I prefer because it is a tutor over a ritual. I prefer a tutor that can get me into my win, and it allows me to play it at instant speed. I can crack it whenever I want, or I can crack it off to Vesh, or I could even play Limduel's Vault in response to a Crom trigger.
Yeah, that's true. It's very powerful. It's a mid-rangey card, right? That's how I see it. It's like it's how many mid-rangey cards do you want to be on is like the real question, and I'm leaning towards less, but I could see these commanders pushing.
Like I don't know.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I played it pretty quickly, getting me what I want on turn 2 into turn 3 Nas, but like
yeah, that's true.
Still good.
That's a good point.
Just play it on your end step.
Yes, that's true. Yep. I don't know. I do worry.
What about your end step? Play it on the end step return.
Oh yeah. I know. It's just like I don't like holding up 2 mana on turn 2. It feels like I feel like I am telling my opponents that I have interaction and that I'm willing to use it. Yeah. And I don't like that. I don't like having that responsibility. All right. Do you have anything else you want to say about the deck? I'm gonna pull up the deck list one more time for us to kind of look around and see if there's anything.
If you want to go, we can go through it.
We talked about Whispering Madness a bit.
Whispering Madness has been so like I won a game off of Whispering Madness the other day on like turn 2. I
really like that card.
Turn 1 Mana Crypt and an island, an Underground Sea. Like I fetched into a UC, and then on the end step before my turn, I flashed in God damn it, I'm forgetting the Hull Breacher on 1, and then on turn 2 played another land and cast Whispering Madness with Force of Will backup. Stripped everybody's hands, made a whole bunch of treasure, and then ciphered the Whispering Madness onto the Hull Breacher.
That's so mean.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite thing to do is cipher it. I put it on Malcolm usually, and then the cool thing with Malcolm is
it's supposed to go on Crom, but if nobody has if like only one person had blockers, and I think I ended up assembling a win that turn, but everybody was just like, we're just gonna scoop. Yeah. I'm like, no, I got it. Let me try and put this together. Like, okay, I'm gonna shuffle. I'm gonna shuffle up. If you don't get it, I scoop in response.
One card I want to talk about is obviously very strong with Tether Stop, but people who aren't familiar with Tether Stop might not immediately see why. Is Skull Clamp.
Oh, Skull Clamp is so great.
Yeah, so Tether Stop makes 0/1 tokens. That's his +2. It's what you're sacking to him most of the time to draw two cards.
Tether Stop essentially is Skull Clamp in the command zone. It's
That's
just doubling
true.
down. It's
But
doubling
when you
down
have
on its
a
effect.
yeah, but when you have a Skull Clamp, you can activate that effect any number of times. So you
Oh
can
yeah, no,
pay
100%.
2 mana to draw 4, which is insane.
Exactly.
So, if you're not familiar with Tether Stop, you should.
Or 1 mana and sacrifice the other one to Tether Stop, and you'll still draw
Yes.
4 cards.
Yes, that's true. I was playtesting a bit ago, and I had turn Tether Stop into a turn 2 Skull Clamp off his activation to draw 2 more cards, and then I went to my third turn and I drew 4 more cards off Skull Clamp because I drew a Mana Crypt off the top. So it was a lot of fun. There's a lot.
Yeah,
of
this deck draws a lot of cards, and like I've seen some people saying they're like, "Is it as good as Kess?" And like I'm not comfortable enough in my opinions to express anything on that. However, as someone who just brewed it and it is being compared to Kess,
It's pretty good. It's a good spot to be in.
like that's happy for me. They're like, oh, like if people that I respect and I look up to as a or like whose opinions I respect are having debates about is it as good as essentially the premier Grixis deck in the CDH format, that is a good place to be having a conversation about your deck.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tether Stop and
there's people making very good points on both ends. Like, yes,
Yeah.
Kess can double flashback stuff. Her Oracle synergy, like, or consultation synergy, is second to none. Like, will she ever be unseated? I don't think so. Especially now that they've printed a better Labman. She was amazing with Labman.
I think the thing with Tether Stop, though, I think the thing that's crazy about them for me is that it's an infinite mana outlet, which we've never had before. We've never had that before in Grixis. It's 2 of the best, before this pairing had a lot of discussion. I think I felt very comfortable saying Tether Stop is one of the most powerful card advantage engines in the command zone with partner. We needed to find the right spot for him, but like Thrasios, Tether Stop already extremely powerful. Crom, I think Crom is in serious contention for the best partner in the format right now. I know me and Rebel feel pretty strongly about that. I know Play to Win just did a poll the other day where Crom got absolutely blown out by Timna Thrasios. So obviously not a popular opinion, but I feel pretty strongly that it's Crom or Timna. Like, that's in the top 2. And now you're throwing Tevesh Zot with Crom. That's insane to me. That's super powerful. So
yeah, I'm like, I really want to say thank you to Rebel for the inspiration, because like I wanted to play something like her deck, but I wanted to play creatures, and then I literally figured out Baron this morning, as I was ripping a joint, getting my prep list together.
Yeah.
So, I posted, I'm like, hey, I think this is good, and everybody's like, this is good.
Yeah. I literally was like, Nathan.
I'm like, hey guys, because when you spout so many, like, I'm a brewer, and some, like, not all the ideas I have are good, but an idea is another tool in the tool belt that might come in handy later. Mm-hmm. So like people enjoy my brews because they're spicy, but like this one I was like, oh, wait, no. Like, you put out a few spicy brews, and then like all of a sudden one comes out and everybody's like, no, hold on a second, we want to take a look at this.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Baron Master Wizard. The name of my Tevesh Zot deck is Tevesh Zot is a Master Wizard, which if you're from the Philadelphia CDH scene, you'll know what that meme is about. There's a guy named Ben who, whenever anyone mentions the card Baron Master Wizard, he just starts screaming, Baron is a Master Wizard! Baron is a Master Wizard! So, great company.
I have 2 names for this deck. One is the PG name, and the other one is is the nickname for the deck.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
We're just gonna go with we'll just go with the Doom Thieves, and we'll just leave people who know what the rest of the acronym is. We'll know.
I just messed up my hair. Good God. All right. Yeah, the other acronym is not safe for life. So
not safe for life. No, neither is most of my content.
True. Also true. Good points. All right. Thank you, Nathan, for coming on, talking about Tevisat, having a good time. I haven't. This is the first video back from Christmas break, so I hope people enjoy it. A lot of brewing went on the last few weeks. I've been playing Malcolm and Equal Crom. You've been playing Doom Thief, and I don't know what else you've been playing. You played some other spice too, didn't you? Oh, you've been playing a lot of Lasagna Tier. You know, we should talk about Lasagna Tier.
Oh yeah, Lasagna Tier is probably the only, like, oddly enough, like talking casual to a bunch of competitive players is probably like the actual place for it.
Yeah, it's we should just give it a quick advertisement. Like, you have a Discord, I think, where you play it on, but
I've been playing it off of my Discord, but there is an actual official Discord coming.
Sure. So yeah,
I'm not making it. DDM Gaming he's far more organized than I am. Mike from DDM.
Yeah.
I'm like the idea guy. He's like I'm making this happen thing, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting.
That's really funny. I love Mike. Mike's fantastic. He's a good player.
Yeah, so essentially Lasagna Tier is like, at its base, it is casual. But it's the kind of casual where you're not going to get flamed for running mana crypts and mana vaults and demonic tutors, and like it's a bunch of like mostly competitive players, like competitive and people that enjoy really high power spicy brews, but like don't actually want to play competitive. Like, I want to make 100,000 mana manually and like do crazy stuff, but
Can I
like
give you a hot take description of Lasagna Tier?
Go-karts with jetpacks.
Okay. It is for people who want to play casual but have been ruined by CDH deck building philosophy.
Yes.
Like, Mike is awesome. Mike's fantastic, but he like wants to play CDH, but he also doesn't want to ever play anything that's like considered the best. Like, he has specific cards he likes, and he wants to make those powerful version of those cards, but they're not like, my favorite card's
like Lasagna is the place to play. Like,
if your favorite card's Demonic Consultation, Lasagna is probably still a place you could have fun, but it might not be the place for you. If your favorite card is like a 7-mana artifact with Cascade, and you want to cast that card infinitely, and then win by like making infinite cast triggers and casting your whole deck infinitely, part of a 4-card combo that assembles using like tons of tutors, I feel like Lasagna is the place for you. Am I right?
Then that is definitely the place for you. Like, we also don't promote clean combos.
Yes.
Like, if it's just clean, it's just like, okay. And like, I plan on streaming these games in the future. So like, what I look for in Lasagna decks, and what a lot of people enjoy about Lasagna decks, is the ability to do something big, flashy, and showy. And like, I want to show that off. Like, a clean win looks nice for CDH. We enjoy that. But like, for entertainment value, like, instead of like, we still optimize, but we optimize for fun. We optimize for crazy. And like, to give you an example of what one of the major cuts that I made. First off, I don't play Hull Breacher in my Shabraz list because like, it is an amazing deck that would help me go off, but it's absolutely miserable to play against, and like, that is not in the spirit of casual. However, like, I also took out a counterspell and decided to because I'm like, I could add a counterspell, or I could add Fling. And trust me, when someone has gone to like had a board wipe and go like, I'm going to board wipe and wipe out the deck and wipe out like the creatures, and I have a 50-50 Shabraz and a Fling in hand.
Look at this.
Yeah, like, I've shown the play, and I'm like, you board wipe, you die. That's a counterspell.
Yeah, it is. It's like the Aetherflux Reservoir.
I'm running. I'll be running an Aetherflux Reservoir in there because the deck is mostly focused on Shabraz, so I end up with like hundreds of life like over 100 life from wheeling, and I with a 50-50 shark, and I'm storming off with wheels. Like, I'm running Breach to give you an idea. I run Breach, but I'm not running LED.
Do you play? Do you kill people with Shabraz combat damage? Like,
a lot. I one-shot people.
I was curious if it was the type of gameplay where it's like, I have a 50-50, but I'm not going to kill people with it, or if it was like, I have a 50-50, I've made it by resolving 30 draw spells, and you're going to die from it now.
Someone usually dies from it now. Like we also don't mind 45-minute matches in Lasagna.
Yeah.
Like, it is casual played at a CDH pace.
Interesting.
And like, my deck gets out of hand because like Shabrazz coming down, like usually everybody tries in CDH, you're trying to turn 1, turn 2 a Brawl in for your Curiosity combo, which by the way, I am also not running any of the Curiosity combos in this deck. However, I haven't needed to at all, like because you get Shabrazz to a 50-50 or a 40-40 or even a like you can get him at 40-40 pretty quick, and then you wheel into a Chandra's Ignition.
Oh my god. That's awesome.
And you just blow everybody the hell out, and it's just like congratulations. Like the nickname for the decks is sharks with frickin' laser beams.
That's sounds like that's what it is.
So that like that's so our idea is to have fun and like at a pace, and we don't mind if somebody wins. We're not trying to sit around for 3 hours. We're trying to jam. We can jam 5 games of casual Magic because we're all running accelerators and what. One of my favorite cards actually in the format. And like I love to see it, and like is Wishclaw Talisman.
Oh yeah, because like
it's one of the best group hug political cards I have ever seen because nobody's going for instant wins. So it's just like I'm gonna go get this card. I'll give it to you if you go get I've often had it passed to me like I have shit in my hand. I need a wheel. If I give you this, will you wheel? And I'm like, fuck yeah.
That's interesting. I really like how it's.
Or they just don't give it to me at all when they don't want me to wheel.
Oh yeah. I was trying to say I really like that in like casual. It's a card that has consequences. Where like in CD, it's just like it feeds Dockside. I'll win this turn.
Wishclaw Talisman goes to get Dockside and then feeds Dockside.
Yeah, where in casual it's like, all right, who am I going to give this Wishclaw Talisman to?
It's amazing.
Looking to die.
Yeah, so like. We're all looking to do kind of crazy stuff, and you can bargain with it a lot. And I enjoy a good amount of like bargaining in my casual games.
Yeah, that's sick. Well, if you haven't heard of Lasagna, you should check it out. There's a lot of discussion going on Twitter. I'll try to leave any links in the description I can think of. Thank you again for coming on, Nathan.
It's my pleasure.
You're a pleasure to talk to. I'm so happy that I get to be your friend to talk to you about all this stuff. So thank you.
Well, I'll be trying in the future. I'm going to be trying to get more involved in the content creation that has been thrust upon me. So look to see me more doing more stuff as I learn how to do this.
All right. Have a good one, everyone. Thanks for coming on, Nathan. Again, thanks for listening. I hope you all enjoyed Tether Shot and Lasagna. See you. Bye.
See ya.